got the last of the 3 videos that I plan on reacting to. America's worst serial killers. The Casanova Killer. I don't know who this is. I know of some of America's worst serial killers. One of those being Ted Bundy. One of those being Jeffrey Dahmer. One of those being... I just forgot his name, even though I saw his name literally last night. I'm going to get into this video. If you guys want to see more videos like this, you know, feel free to let me know in the comment section, or feel free to click the link in the description below for the Patreon. There you can see, you know, the different tiers for whichever tier you want to join and see more reactions like this in advance, because I don't drop videos like this too often on my YouTube channel, but I do drop videos like this often on Patreon. So let me know, guys, what you want to see. Here we go.
On November 17th, 1974, Sandy Fox was watching the evening news in a state of pure shock. Staring back at her from the TV was the charming and handsome man with whom she'd recently had a 2-day whirlwind romantic fling. He had the same movie star good looks and devilish grin that had drawn her to him in the first place, and so she could see how he had earned the nickname the media had given him, the Casanova Killer. The man she knew as Paul John Knowles was really a vicious serial killer who had killed as many as 35 innocent men, women, and children over a 5-month period across 6 different states. Sandy now knew just how lucky she was to have survived their encounter. Paul John Knowles was born in Florida on April 14, 1946, and as a young boy he began getting into trouble with the law for petty crimes. After he was caught stealing at the tender age of 9, his father was fed up and decided he wanted nothing to do with young Paul. He was disowned and given up for adoption, and would spend the rest of his childhood years in reformatories and foster homes. Unsurprisingly,
See, that's what could lead to your child becoming a serial killer. If you just teach that kid better ways, that there's more to life than just robbing and committing these petty crimes, you could save lives. It was like that one show, Smallville. You guys, for anybody who's ever seen Smallville, you know, them constantly iterating to Lex Luthor, you're gonna become just like your father. He inevitably did. And maybe if they weren't saying that all the time, he would have been a nice guy, you know? Now, granted, I don't really know too much about Lionel Luthor in DC Comics, but I do know if you constantly preach to someone how terrible of a person they are, or this, that, and the third, they could very well become exactly what you think they could become because of it, because you gave up hope on them, because you didn't try to encourage them. If you try to encourage someone to be better, you encouraging them time and time again, maybe they'll eventually come around to your ideas, to your way of viewing them, to your future perspective of them, to how you want them to be, you know? But hey, everybody has their own thing. And what was it, Paul John's father? He definitely had, I'm not going to say he set this all in motion, but I'm not going to completely say he's guiltless. Like he's, nah. You got to do a better job as a parent. If you're a parent, if you have a decent job, but your child grows up to be a serial killer of all things, something went wrong as a parent. Unless that child was just insane since birth, you know, because I know some people are more susceptible to certain things in life, and maybe that child was more susceptible to a life of crime, in which I guess the parent should have maybe done a better job. I'm not a parent though, so I can't be like, oh yeah, you suck as a parent when I'm not a parent.
Surprisingly, this did little to curb his criminal tendencies, and the young Knowles would continue to steal, vandalize, and generally get himself into trouble with the law throughout his teens. His first true arrest happened at the age of 19, and from that point on, Knowles would spend an average of half of each year in jail for crimes ranging from burglary to auto theft. By early 1974, Knowles was serving a prison sentence in Florida's Ledford prison when he found himself a new pen pal in Angela Kovic. After exchanging letters for months, Kovic had fallen head over heels for Knowles. She traveled from California to Florida to visit him in prison, and soon the two were engaged. She used her meager savings to hire a lawyer who was able to successfully get parole for Knowles. Upon his release, he immediately flew from Florida to San Francisco, where the two planned to marry immediately. However, just days before the wedding was set to take place, Kovic called it off. She claimed that Knowles had an aura of evil surrounding him and that her psychic had warned her about a dangerous new man in her life. Angela didn't know it at the time, but that decision quite possibly saved her life. Knowles did not take their broken engagement well, to say the least. He would later claim that on the night of their breakup, he murdered 3 people in a blind rage, although investigators were never able to corroborate the story. What they do know for sure, though, is that Knowles flew back to Jacksonville, Florida, where he was jailed yet again after picking a fight in a local bar. If only that was the end of his story. Instead, on July 26, 1974, the veteran jailbird...
It seems like he hasn't killed anyone yet. Like, whether him telling police what he did, whether it was true or not, either he's killed 3 people for the first time, or maybe he just hasn't killed anyone. These ads gotta go. How do you prevent ads on YouTube?
Picked the lock on his cell and escaped from jail, setting off one of the most brutal crime sprees in American history. That very same night that he escaped from a holding cell in Jacksonville, Knowles broke into the home of 65-year-old Alice Curtis, gagging her and tying her up while he ransacked her home looking for cash and valuables. Sadly, Curtis choked to death on her own dentures, making her the first confirmed murder victim. Whether or not he intended for her to die, her death seemed to unleash something truly evil in Knowles and kicked off a brutal months-long murder spree. Knowles spent a few days hiding out in Curtis's home with her dead body, eating her food and watching her TV. When he saw his own mugshot on the local news, he realized he needed to get far away from Jacksonville. Shortly after stealing Curtis's car, Knowles was driving through Jacksonville looking for a place to drop the hot vehicle when he saw 11-year-old Lillian Anderson and her 7-year-old sister Millette walking down the street. He recognized them as friends of his mother's, and fearing that they might be able to identify him, he kidnapped the 2 young girls, strangled them both, and dumped their bodies in a swamp outside of town before hitting the open road. He had now killed 3 innocent people, and he knew that he needed to get out of the area as soon as possible. By the next day, Knowles was in Atlantic Beach, Florida, where he broke into the home of Marjorie Howe. This time...
See, this is what I'm saying, bro. Like, this dude, he's going after these people that are so innocent and can't really do anything against him. Like, why don't you pick on somebody your own size? You know, this is what I'm saying. This is why I don't like Freddy. Because I feel like Freddy Krueger comes at people in dreams. Like, what am I supposed to do about that, bro? Face me in real life. I'm not afraid of you. Like, if I was in that universe that Freddy lives in, I wouldn't be afraid of him, bro. Somebody says, oh, Freddy's gonna show up in your dreams. I'm like, pull up in real life. I think Freddy's weakness is fire, I think. So, okay, that's what I'm doing. I've never really seen Nightmare on Elm Street, though. But even if I did, you know, I've seen bits and pieces to know that this guy is a coward and relies on fear. Like, come on, bro. You're not getting strong in my life. No. And this guy, he's the Casanova Killer. Like, you're picking on children, old women? Stop it. Get some help.
He wasted no time strangling Howe with...
I guess he did get some help. I'm guessing he's dead now.
The nylon stocking before stealing her TV and getting back on the road. As he had made his way aimlessly north, Knowles strangled a hitchhiker that he had picked up, bringing his official total to 5 victims in just a few short days. After the murder of the hitchhiker, Knowles appears to have laid low for a few weeks, but before long he would be back to his evil ways. On August 23, 1974, Knowles strangled Kathy Pierce in Wasilla, Georgia, with a phone cord while her 3-year-old son looked on. Oddly, he left the boy unharmed. On September 3, 1974, Knowles met a businessman, William Bates, in a bar in Lima, Ohio. After drinking together for several hours, he strangled Bates, dumped his body in the woods, and stole his money, credit cards, and car. Bates was Knowles' first known male victim, and his body wouldn't be found until October. Knowles drove Bates' stolen car all the way to Sacramento before making his way back east through Utah and Nevada, where he murdered campers Emmett and Lois Johnson near Ely, Nevada, on September 18th. 3 days later, Knowles assaulted and murdered a female motorist who was stranded on the side of the road, leaving her body tangled in a barbed wire fence. On September 23rd, Knowles met beautician Ann Dawson in Birmingham, Alabama. The two traveled together for a few days until Knowles grew bored of her. He killed her on September 29th, but her body would never be found. After brutally murdering at least 10 people across 5 different states, Knowles once again laid low for a few weeks, but it was only a matter of time before the urge to kill became unbearable. On October 19th in Woodford, Virginia, Knowles shot 53-year-old Doris Huvey in her home with her husband's rifle. This time, he did not assault or even rob Huvey. Clearly, his lust for blood was all that mattered to Knowles now. Shortly after the murder—
Honestly, bro, this is what I'm talking about, man. Like, yeah, you've only killed, what, one man? Okay. I see some dude trying to strangle me. I'm not losing, bro. I'm not losing. Especially, well, I don't know. Maybe if he's like 6'10" and benches like 400 pounds, maybe I'll lose. You know, I'll probably lose in that situation. But if he's similar in height to me, you know, similar in weight, I'm not losing. I'm fighting for my life. And if we're fighting for survival, I'm not dying, bro. Simple. I'm not gonna be the one that dies here. It's not gonna be me. If I have a choice between life and death, I'm not choosing the latter. So, you know, rest in peace to everyone this guy killed. But so far, all I'm seeing is the people he's killed have been women and children, and the occasional man. Like he I don't know, maybe he's too afraid to kill men, but you know, he seems to like overpoweredness. So he either kills people with guns, or he kills old women, children, or like mid-age to like older age women. This guy, he upsets me.
Murder of Huvey, Knowles picked up 2 more hitchhikers.
It's like I don't know. I don't expect to respect a serial killer, but like if you somebody that specifically targets people within a certain demographic, that really irks me. That makes me want to hurt you, you know? Like it's like bullying. I don't like bullying, and I feel like you're a bully type of serial killer, and I don't like that. I don't like that. Like, if you're a serial killer, at least be like, you know, Jason Voorhees. I feel like he shows no remorse to everyone. He doesn't just go after, like Michael Myers, you can see he clearly hates when people have sexual intercourse. You know, like every Halloween movie, if anybody's trying to do the deed, he's killing them. Like, that's just Michael Myers, bro. But Jason Voorhees, I feel like he doesn't care, you know. He may be weak to water. I don't know how. I haven't seen the original. I gotta watch more movies. But you know, at least be a type of. The point is, at least be a type of killer who isn't prejudiced towards everyone. Like you just target specific people, bro. You're pathetic. Like, if I'm in the car with you and I realize you're a serial killer, I'm definitely gonna be that guy that's just insulting you. Like, bro, you killing women, bro. You're pathetic. Children? Kill me. You know, and then that just upsets him to the point where he's like, oh wait, this guy talks too much, you know? And he tries to knock me unconscious, and then I reach for his gun, and then he's the one that's left like, oh no, please don't kill me, you know, like, oh, the table, somebody walked into your car and they turned the table around. The table is okay.
He planned to kill the pair, but before he could, he was stopped by police in a stolen car for a routine traffic violation. The careless cop let him off with a warning, but the experience rattled Knowles. After dropping off the hitchhikers, he contacted a lawyer and confessed to his crimes. The lawyer recommended that Knowles turn himself in, but he refused. Instead, he allegedly taped a confession and handed it over to the lawyer before skipping town once again. He instructed the lawyer to make the tape public in the event of his death, and insisted that any proceeds from his story go on to his mother. Despite his close call, Knowles was unable to stop himself from continuing to kill. On November 6th in Macon, Georgia, he met and befriended Carswell Carr. Carr took pity on Knowles, who he took for a drifter, and invited him to spend the night at his home. Over drinks, Knowles stabbed Carr to death and then strangled Carr's 15-year-old daughter. After fleeing this murder, Knowles might have killed hitchhikers Edward Hilliard and Debbie Griffin, but their bodies were never found. On November 8th, Knowles was bar hopping in Atlanta, Georgia, when he met British journalist Sandy Fox. Fox recalls being infatuated with Knowles' gaunt good looks and his resemblance to movie star Robert Redford. The two spent the night together.
Hang on, let's find out who that is, bro. Robert Ledford, is that what they said? Robert Ledford. Robert Ledford? Wow, this dude looks ugly. Wait, hang on. I gotta see what he said.
Good looks and his resemblance to movie star Robert Redford. The two
Redford, not Ledford. Oh, okay, all right. Oh, this guy? Wow, I've seen him in so many things. He looks so different when he was in. Wait, let's look up young. Let's look up young Robert. We don't want to look up old Robert. We want to look up young. Okay. See, now he looks nice. He looks nice. I recognize old Robert, but young Robert. Okay, I can see why. Yeah, he's a decent looking guy, bro. Yep, she fell for him. Yeah, maybe that's what caught people off guard so much. His good looks. You know, maybe people thought, oh, an attractive looking guy could never be a serial killer. Like, I guess it's only ugly serial killers. Like maybe people just be like, that person's hideous. They have to be a serial killer. Like what?
Who spent the night together, although Knowles was unable to do the deed, so to speak. Over the next 2 days, after repeated failed attempts at intimate relations, the pair separated on good terms on November 10th. Fox had no idea at the time just how lucky she was to escape with her life, but she would later say that she suspects that he let her live because, as a writer, she would be able to spread his story and increase his notoriety. The day after separating from Fox, Knowles made his first big mistake. He attempted to kidnap Susan McKenzie, a friend of Fox, and assaulted her at gunpoint. Amazingly, she escaped and reported Knowles to the police. Officers now had a name to link to the rash of mysterious killings and tracked Knowles down and pulled him over. Knowles was prepared though, and he managed to escape by brandishing a sawed-off shotgun. Days later, Knowles was back in Florida. After murdering Beverly Mabee in West Palm Beach, he abducted Mabee's sister and stole her car. The next night, he released Mabee in Fort Pierce, Florida, unharmed. On November 16, 1974,
why did he release her? Why didn't he kill her? That's unlike you, bro. That's a loose end.
A state trooper recognized the stolen car that Knowles was driving and pulled him over. However, Knowles was ready for him. He took the officer hostage at gunpoint, put him in the back of the police car, and took off in the stolen cruiser. Realizing that a stolen police car was incredibly obvious, Knowles used the cruiser to pull over another innocent motorist. After kidnapping the driver, James Meyer, he put both hostages.
Why is this the first thing I'm not trying to see people making out, bro. Come on, stop it.
In the back of Meyer's vehicle and drove out into the woods of Pulaski County, Georgia. There, he handcuffed the men to a tree and shot them both in the head at close range. The blatant.
Okay, so I don't know. At first, I don't know. He decided to let some people live, and the people that he let live were the hitchhiker couple and a couple women.
Murder of a police officer would spell the beginning of the end for Knowles. Just hours later, Knowles approached a police roadblock that had been erected to capture him. With no other options, Knowles crashed his stolen car through the barrier, lost control of the vehicle, and crashed into a tree. An injured Knowles then escaped on foot into the woods, firing shots at officers as he fled. Knowles was pursued by officers from several agencies armed with dogs and a helicopter, but in the end, he would meet his downfall at the hands of a civilian. 27-year-old David Clark, a Vietnam veteran and avid hunter, spotted Knowles in the woods several miles away from the official search area on November 17th. Seeing that Knowles was bleeding from the wound on his head, the suspicious hunter cornered Knowles with his shotgun and held him at a neighbor's home until police arrived, finally putting an end to the vicious murder spree. Once in custody, Knowles claimed to have murdered more than 35 people between July and November of 1974, though police were only able to verify 18 of his murders. On November 18th, the day after his capture, Knowles was being transferred to a maximum security facility when he made one last desperate bid for freedom. He made a grab for the sheriff's revolver, which went off during the scuffle, prompting FBI agent Ron Angel to shoot Knowles 3 times at point-blank range, killing him instantly. The Casanova Killer had met his own brutal and final end. Even after Knowles' death, the police and the public remained fascinated by his crimes. His movie star good looks, charisma, and devilish smirk endeared him to his victims and earned him his nickname, the Casanova Killer. His constant movement crisscrossing the country and the fact that he murdered victims in 6 different states made it hard for police to link his various murders to a single killer. There appeared to be no pattern to his victims, and he indiscriminately killed men and women and children and adults. Knowles had no consistent MO.
Yeah, like that's what I don't like about this. Well, I don't know. See, I was saying that earlier, that he targeted specific people, but now they're saying that he didn't. And as time went on, I guess that is true. That is true. He didn't really have a specific, demographic that he targeted. But at the same time, it's like, I mean, I guess it makes sense for a serial killer, especially for one that doesn't care. There are some people that have a code and they won't kill children. But I guess this guy was just like, everybody's going to die. Children, old people, doesn't matter. Everybody's dead in his eyes, And he killed over 30 people. Rest in peace to his victims.
Stabbing some victims, strangling others, and shooting the rest. Some were assaulted and robbed, while others were simply killed for no apparent reason. By the time the police connected the seemingly random crimes to a single killer, it was too late for his victims. His death in custody at the hands of the FBI meant Knowles would never have to explain the motivations for his crimes in court. The taped confession he had left with his lawyer may have been the key to unlocking the Casanova Killer's motives, but sadly the tapes were allegedly destroyed when the courtroom they were being stored in was damaged by a flood. The lawyer who received the tapes from Knowles claims to not have listened to them before they were destroyed and refuses to speculate on Knowles' motives, standing by his commitment to client confidentiality. Perhaps his traumatic childhood and his father's abandonment set the stage for Knowles to go on to become
That sounds so familiar. I wonder who mentioned that earlier in this video.
a killer. Maybe the heartbreak of his broken engagement prompted him to graduate from petty crime to vicious murder. Or maybe his motive was simply to gain notoriety and fame for his brutal crimes. The fact that he let journalist Sandy Fox go free and unharmed, and the fact that his murders seemed to be crimes of opportunity rather than targeted killings appear to add credence to this theory. But we'll never know for sure why Paul John Knowles was driven to kill. If you thought serial killers from the 70s were bad, be sure and check out this video called Why This Generation Will Have More Serial Killers Than Ever. Or perhaps this other video will be
That? I don't know what it is about videos with serial killers, but they seem very interesting to me right now. But that's where I draw the line. No, that's where I stop. That's where I stop recording for the day. All right. That was a great batch of videos. I wish Casanova Killer's father, I wish he was there for him. I wish, because like every child needs a father and a mother, and this kid didn't have that. His parents, they sent him away, and I don't think they should have handled it like that. I think they should have tried to be good parents in his life. Wait, did his mom die? I might be forgetting something, but they said something about his father sending him off. So did his mother not have anything to do with it? Maybe his mother wasn't in his life. I can't remember that. But what I do remember is that his father sent him off. I feel like that was one of the first things that truly led to his demise. Like him losing access to having a normal life and being citizen. Now, not all kids in foster care become serial killers. Like, that's not really a thing. But this specific kid, with his specific life, like, especially at that age, he was 9, I think. At that age, like, you're super impressionable and you fall into the wrong crowd, man, it's inevitable to do the wrong things. That's why people gotta try our best. Like, even if you're not a parent, like, you know somebody that's struggling, you gotta, and if you really care for that person, I feel like you just gotta try to do what you can to help that person through, because you never know what not helping this person when you know you could lead to. Like, there was a specific time in my life where I probably could have helped someone that was dying. You know, they had leukemia. I could have just made their life a little bit more enjoyable in high school, and I didn't, you know, and that's something that sticks with me to this day. That person's dead now, and that time when they were alive, like, I could have done something, and I didn't. And you know, that's something that sticks with me. So, with the time that you're given on this earth, if you know somebody that's really struggling and that's going through it, like, help them, because I'm sure they might do the same for you if they saw you struggling, if they saw that you needed help, whether it was mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, spiritually. Be a good person, man. Or turn someone into a serial killer. That's an exaggeration, but essentially, like, you know, your decisions could lead to someone's demise, and you don't want that on your conscience. So, with that being said, thanks for watching. I will see you guys in the next reaction. Peace.